She had been inside that wardrobe for what felt like a lifetime, listening, not moving, barely breathing. She had heard him laugh. She had heard him plan. She had heard him say her name like she was already gone. And when the front door finally closed, when the house finally went silent, she had stepped out of that wardrobe with one thought. Not anger, not revenge, something colder than both. He thinks this is over. But this story was never going to end the way he planned, because the same river that was supposed to erase her had given her something instead. A witness, a plan, and time, the one thing he forgot to take.
My name is Lillian, and I came back from that river for a reason.
His name is Tunde. He is sitting in his car right now, phone to his ear, voice controlled, measured, telling the world his wife is missing. What he doesn't know is that his wife is watching, and everything he is building on her disappearance, she is about to take apart, brick by brick by brick.
The woman's body trembled, not from the cold, from memory, from what she had just escaped. Ada gently helped her sit up, supporting her back. Easy, you're safe now. The woman shook her head weakly. No, I'm not safe. Her voice cracked. You don't understand. He doesn't leave things unfinished. Ada studied her carefully. This wasn't panic. This was certainty. Tell me your name, Ada said quietly. A pause. Then, Lillian. Lillian pulled her arms closer to herself, as if trying to hold what little of her world remained. My husband, Tunde. She swallowed hard. He planned everything. Ada said nothing, just listened. My husband told me we were traveling, Lillian continued. A surprise, a getaway. Her lips trembled. I believed him. A tear slipped down her cheek. We stopped near the river. Ada's jaw tightened slightly. I didn't even have time to scream. Her voice dropped. He drugged me. Silence. Only the river moved now. When I woke, I was inside that box. Her breathing became uneven again. I could hear him outside, talking on the phone. Ada leaned in slightly. What did he say? Lillian closed her eyes. For everything to be ready, for the house, for the documents. She opened them again. And then he said, a pause, voice breaking. Once this is done, everything becomes mine. Ada exhaled slowly. Now it made sense. Not rage, not impulse. This was calculated. Your husband thinks you're dead, Ada said. Lillian nodded. Yes. Then Ada held her gaze, then said quietly, then he's already made his biggest mistake. Lillian looked at her, confused, because that gives us something he doesn't have. Ada leaned closer. Time. A flicker of something new appeared in Lillian's expression. Not hope, not yet, but something close. We should go to the police, Ada continued. Instantly. No. Lillian grabbed her arm. Too fast, too urgent. No police. Ada frowned. Why? Lillian's voice dropped. He has connections, money. He will twist it. He will say I'm unstable or lying. Her grip tightened. And if that fails, she shook her head, he will try again. Ada absorbed that, measured it, then slowly she nodded. All right. Lillian blinked, surprised. You believe me? Ada's voice was calm. I believe what I saw. A pause. And I believe he thinks he has already won. Then Ada leaned in slightly, and that is his mistake. Lillian watched her now, carefully. What are you thinking? She asked. Ada's tone lowered, focused. We don't go to the police yet. We make sure when we do, he has no way out. First, Ada said, we go to your house. Lillian stiffened slightly. No, if he's there. We won't be seen, Ada cut in. But you said something important. Lillian hesitated. The documents. And money, Ada added. Anything he wants to take. Understanding dawned slowly. If he's doing this for your wealth, Ada's eyes locked onto hers, then we take control of it first. A long pause. Then, for the first time, Lillian nodded. Okay. The house didn't blend into its surroundings, it dominated them. Tall gates, glass, steel, polished walls, silent wealth. The kind of place built to impress and conceal. The kind Ada had only ever seen from a distance. She stopped briefly outside, not out of fear, but recognition. This is your home? Ada asked. Lillian nodded faintly. Ada looked at it once more, then said quietly, not for long if we don't move fast. They slipped inside. The air was different, still, cold, untouched. Every step echoed, too loud. Upstairs, Lillian whispered. They moved quickly, but carefully. Inside the bedroom, luxury, order, control. Lillian went straight to the bed, dropped to her knees, reached underneath, pulled out a hidden case. She opened it. Stacks of money, documents, passports. Ada let out a slow breath. He was planning everything. Lillian nodded. Yes. Take what matters, Ada said. Only what we can carry. They worked fast, precise, focused. Then, a sound. A door. Downstairs. Both women froze. Footsteps. Not one. Two. Lillian's face drained of color. He's back. Ada moved instantly, pulled her toward the wardrobe, opened it. They slipped inside, closed it, just as voices filled the house. A man's voice, relaxed, carefree. I told you, once this is done, everything changes. A woman laughed softly, playful. You're sure she won't come back? A pause. Then Tunde's voice, calm, certain. She won't. Not hesitation, not doubt, certainty, like he had already buried her twice. Lillian's body shook beside Ada, silent tears falling.
Footsteps, moving through the room. Then, closer. The footsteps stopped, directly outside the wardrobe. Inside, Ada's hand found Lillian's arm, gripped it. Neither woman breathed. A hand touched the wardrobe door. Fingers resting on the handle. 1 second. 2. Tunde, come and see this view. The girlfriend's voice, from across the room, bright, distracted. A pause. The hand on the wardrobe handle did not move. 3 seconds. Then, the footsteps turned, walked away. Inside the wardrobe, Ada exhaled so slowly it made no sound. Lillian's fingers dug into her arm. Neither woman moved. Outside, look at the city from here. The girlfriend again, carefree, unaware of what she had just done. We'll travel next month, Tunde said. Start fresh. I like the sound of that. Footsteps again, moving, back through the bedroom. Then, Tunde's voice dropped slightly. Something in it shifting. Where are the documents? Not a question to her, to himself. Ada felt Lillian stiffen beside her. Footsteps, deliberate now, moving toward the bed. The sound of a hand sweeping underneath it. Silence. Then the other side. More silence. Inside the wardrobe, Lillian pulled the hidden case tighter against her chest, eyes closed, lips pressed together. Ada's grip on her arm tightened. Outside, nothing. A long beat of silence, so heavy it had weight. Then, Tunde, the girlfriend's voice again, Your phone! Someone is calling you! A pause. Footsteps, moving away from the bed, away from the wardrobe, out of the bedroom. Muffled voices downstairs. A phone call. Short, clipped. Then, "We need to go," Tunde's voice from downstairs. The carefree tone, gone. Now? Now. Movement, quick, purposeful. The front door. A lock turning. Silence. Complete. Ada and Lillian did not move. Not immediately. 10 seconds. 20. Then, Ada's hand slowly released Lillian's arm. She pressed her ear against the wardrobe door. Nothing. Slowly, she pushed it open. The room was empty. Lillian stepped out, still holding the case, still shaking. She looked at Ada. No words needed. Ada looked back. Something inside Lillian had stopped breaking and started hardening. Her breathing steadied. The fear was still there, but now it had something else beside it. Resolve.
Later that night, the house was quiet again. Ada and Lillian stepped out. No words, just understanding. Ada looked at her, long, careful. "Now," a pause. "We make him explain this." Lillian nodded. This time, no hesitation. The plan was quiet. No confrontation, no announcement. Just evidence, gathered carefully, placed correctly. They had his voice, recorded, unedited, undeniable. The property transfer document, already signed. The hidden case, photographed. The crate, still in the river, now marked for recovery. Ada had seen enough of the world to know. A man like Tunde didn't fear anger. He feared exposure. So they built a wall of it, brick by brick, quiet, certain. The next morning, Tunde was still performing, the grieving husband, the concerned calls, the practiced tears. He didn't know that every performance has an audience he hadn't accounted for. And then the knock came. He opened the door. A policewoman, calm, professional, badge visible. "Mr. Tunde?" "Yes?" His voice broke, perfectly timed. "Is this about your wife?" "We found something," she said. "You should prepare yourself." His face crumpled, hands trembling slightly. Everything performed, everything ready. A wheelchair was rolled forward, a body covered, still. He exhaled sharply, stepped forward, one hand over his mouth. "No, no, please!" He reached for the sheet, slowly, the way a man reaches for something he already knows will destroy him, and pulled it back. The body moved. His hand froze. The woman sat up and looked directly at him, not with anger, not with tears, with the stillness of a woman who had already won. "Lillian!" The word left his mouth before he could stop it. Not grief, not shock, recognition, followed immediately by terror. He stepped back, hit the wall, nowhere further to go. "You were supposed to—" He stopped himself, too late. Lillian stood slowly, steadied herself, then walked toward him, one step, two, until she was close enough that he couldn't look away. "I was supposed to disappear," she said quietly. "Is that what you were going to say?" His mouth worked, but nothing came. "The river was cold, Tunde." A pause. "But I came back anyway." Silence. Behind him, Ada stepped into the doorway, composed, watching, and beside her, a second officer entered, this one holding documents. "Mr. Tunde," the officer said, "we have a recorded phone call." He held up a device, "made from this address, yesterday afternoon." Tunde's eyes moved to it. The officer pressed play. "Once this is done, everything becomes mine." His own voice, in his own house. The color left his face completely.
We also have the property transfer document, signed and dated yesterday. Tunde looked at Lillian one last time, as if searching for something. Mercy, doubt, a way out. He found none. "Mr. Tunde, you are under arrest for attempted murder." He didn't resist. There was nothing left to resist with. As they moved him toward the door, he passed Ada, stopped briefly, looked at her, the woman from the river, the washwoman, the witness he never saw. He said nothing. What was there to say? She held his gaze, steady, unbothered. Then he was gone. Lillian stood in the middle of the room, still, the house that was almost taken from her surrounding her. She turned to Ada, her voice quiet. "How did you know the document would be here?" Ada tilted her head slightly. "I didn't." A pause. "But a man who plans that carefully," a pause, "always keeps the proof of what he was planning." Lillian looked at her for a long moment. Then, "Who are you?" Ada almost smiled. "Someone who was doing laundry." A beat of silence. Then Lillian laughed. Small, real, the first real thing she had felt in hours. Ada nodded once, turned toward the door. "Wait," Lillian said. Ada paused. "You saved my life." A breath. "And I don't even know your last name." Ada looked back at her. "You don't need it." A quiet pause. "Just remember, next time someone tells you to disappear," she held her gaze, "don't." Then she walked out, back toward the river, back toward the reeds, back toward the quiet life that was still waiting for her. The same hands that pulled Lillian from the water now wrung out cloth against stone, steady, practiced, unhurried, as if none of it had happened, as if she hadn't just changed the entire direction of someone's life. That is the kind of person Ada was. She didn't do it for recognition. She didn't do it for reward. She did it because she was there, and she could. And sometimes that is enough. Some people bury their crimes in silence, in water, in darkness, believing what disappears is gone. But truth doesn't disappear. It waits, and when it returns, it doesn't come back quietly. It comes back to finish what they started. And this time, it doesn't stay buried.